There's one touch most women never give, not because they don't want to, but because they're terrified of getting it wrong. You've felt it, that flutter in your chest when your hand drifts lower and suddenly you freeze. What if I hurt him? What if he thinks I'm awkward? What if I do it wrong? So you pull back, you stay safe, and he never gets the one thing that would make him feel not just pleasure, but profoundly seen. But here's what no one tells you. He's been waiting for this, not from just anyone, from you. Because this isn't about technique. It's not about speed, pressure, or knowing some secret move. It's about something far more powerful: your presence, your calm, the quiet confidence in your hands when you finally stop overthinking and start feeling. And the truth, your nervousness isn't a weakness. It's your secret weapon. That sensitivity, that care, that deep desire to connect without causing harm. That's exactly what makes your touch unlike anyone else's. Men carry tension in places they never talk about, in the core of their masculinity, in the quiet space between strength and vulnerability. And when a woman they trust dares to meet them there, not with performance, but with tenderness, it unlocks something primal, not just desire, but devotion. He won't just like it, he'll remember it, he'll crave it. And more than that, he'll feel safe enough to surrender in a way he never has before. But you have to get past the fear first. This isn't about massaging like it's a task on a checklist. It's about offering a kind of intimacy so rare, so reverent, that it bypasses his mind and speaks directly to his soul. And the best part, you already know how. Your hands know how to comfort. Your intuition knows when to slow down. Your heart knows how to hold space for someone's deepest vulnerability. You just need permission to trust yourself. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the mindset, the rhythm, and the quiet power behind the one touch that transforms physical intimacy into emotional magnetism. And by the end, you won't just feel ready, you'll feel unstoppable. So take a breath, let go of the noise, and get ready to step into a version of yourself he'll never forget. Because the woman who can hold his most tender space with calm, confident hands, she doesn't just please him, she owns the room. The touch you've been avoiding, but he secretly craves. I want to please him, but I'm scared. You've been there, lying beside him in the quiet dark, your hand tracing his chest, his stomach moving lower, and then your breath catches, your fingers hover, your mind races. Is this okay? Do I know what I'm doing? What if I press too hard? What if he winces? And just like that, you pull away. Not because you don't want to, but because you care too much. You're not alone. In fact, more women than you'd ever guess feel this exact same knot in their stomach when it comes to touching him there. Not out of disgust or disinterest, but out of deep protective love. You don't want to cause pain. You don't want to seem clumsy. You don't want to break the spell of intimacy with a wrong move. But here's what your fear is really saying: I want this to mean something. And that right there is your superpower. Because most people touch without thinking, but you touch with your heart. You're not just moving your hands, you're holding space for his vulnerability and that kind of intention. It's rare, it's powerful, and it's exactly what he's been longing for, whether he said it or not. So let go of the idea that you need to be experienced or skilled. This isn't about performance, it's about presence. And the fact that you're even thinking this deeply about it, that proves you're already more ready than you know. Your sensitivity isn't holding you back. It's preparing you to give him something no one else can. Why this one touch changes everything. Men carry a kind of tension most women never see. It lives low in the body, in that quiet space between strength and softness, where masculinity meets vulnerability. It's where stress pools, where fear hides, where the weight of being strong settles after a long day. And almost no one touches it with care. His partner might avoid it out of shyness. A casual fling might rush through it without presence. But you, when you choose to meet him there, not with haste, not with agenda, but with slow, steady hands, you're doing something radical. You're saying, I see your softness, and I'm not afraid of it. That single act, so simple, yet so rare, creates a neurological shift in him. His nervous system relaxes, his breath deepens, his body stops bracing, and in that release, something extraordinary happens. He doesn't just feel pleasure, he feels safe. And for a man, safety is the gateway to true intimacy. When he feels safe with you, deeply, physically safe, he stops performing. He stops holding back. He lets go. And in that surrender, he doesn't just connect with his body, he connects with you. This touch isn't about technique, it's about trust. And once he's felt your hands there, calm, certain, unhurried. He'll carry that feeling with him long after the moment ends. He'll remember how you held his vulnerability like something sacred. And that's what makes him feel not just desired, but deeply, irrevocably loved. The myth that's holding you back, let's be honest, you've probably watched videos, read articles, scrolled through forums asking, how do I do this right? You're looking for steps, rules, a map. But here's the truth no one wants to admit: there is no right way. Not in the way you think. Men don't lie awake dreaming of perfect hand positioning or textbook rhythm. What they remember, the thing that lingers in their bones, is how you made them feel. Was your touch rushed or reverent? Were you distracted or fully there? Were you giving from obligation or from a quiet, confident place of desire to connect? That's what matters. Your nervousness. It's not a red flag, it's a green light. It means you're present. You're paying attention. You care about his experience. And that level of attunement is worth more than any expert technique. Think about the last time someone touched you with full presence. No phone, no agenda, just soft hands and steady eyes. Didn't that feel better than any perfect massage? It's the same for him. He doesn't need you to be a pro. He needs you to be you, calm, curious, and unafraid to move slowly. So stop trying to memorize moves. Start trusting your hands, because the moment you drop the need to get it right, you'll finally give him what he's truly been waiting for: you. Fully. Here, your secret advantage. It's not what you think. You might look at younger women and think, she probably knows exactly what she's doing. She's not shy, she's bold. But here's what you're missing: boldness without depth is just noise. What you bring, your emotional intelligence, your life experience, your capacity for deep empathy, is something no 22-year-old can replicate. You've loved, you've lost, you've learned how to hold space for another human being's fragility. And that's what makes your touch transformative. Younger women might move fast, but you know the power of slowness. They might focus on his reaction, but you feel his energy. They might treat it like a task, but you treat it like a ritual. This isn't about age. It's about awareness, and your awareness, honed by years of navigating relationships, emotions, and your own body, is your secret weapon. You don't just touch his skin. You sense his tension. You respond to his breath. You adjust without being asked. That's not skill. That's intuition. And it's born from everything you've lived through. So stop comparing. Start claiming. Because the woman who can meet a man in his most vulnerable place, not with bravado, but with quiet, steady love, is the woman he'll never forget. You're not less than. You're more ready than you've ever been. And he's been waiting for someone exactly like you. The mindset before the touch, it starts long before your hands move. You could have the perfect technique. You could follow every tip, every rhythm, every suggestion. But if your mind is racing, is this okay? Am I doing enough? What's he thinking? Your touch will feel frantic, distant, uncertain. And he'll feel it, because touch isn't just physical, it's energetic. The truth is, your hands don't begin speaking the moment they land on his body. They've been communicating long before, through the tension in your shoulders, the speed of your breath, the quiet hum of your thoughts. If you're anxious, your touch carries anxiety. If you're distracted, your touch feels absent. But if you're calm, curious, and fully present, then even the lightest graze becomes a language of safety. So before you move a single finger, pause, breathe into your belly, not your chest. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Ask yourself, am I here, or am I already in the future worrying about his reaction? This isn't woo-woo, it's neuroscience. When you're regulated, your nervous system sends signals of safety, not just to your own body, but to his. And when he senses that safety radiating from you, his guard drops. Not because of what you're doing, but because of who you're being. So don't skip this step. Don't rush to start. Instead, take 30 seconds, just 30, to ground yourself. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the quiet strength in your center. Because the most powerful thing you'll ever bring to him isn't your hands, it's your peace. And that peace, it begins long before your hands ever move. The permission you actually need, it's not his. You've probably rehearsed it in your head. Should I ask first? What if he says no? What if he's not in the mood? So you wait, you watch for signs, you hover, hoping he'll invite you in. But here's what that hesitation communicates. Even if you don't say a word, I'm not sure I belong here, and that doubt, it travels through your fingertips. Now, don't misunderstand, consent is essential. But real consent isn't just a verbal yes in the moment. It's built long before through trust, through connection, through the quiet understanding that you two are safe with each other. If you're in a relationship where intimacy is mutual, where respect is constant, then you already have permission to explore. What you're really seeking isn't his permission, it's your own. Because when you're grounded in your worth, when you know your touch is an offering of love, not a demand or a performance, you don't need to ask. You simply give, and that changes everything. A hesitant hand says, "Is this okay?" A confident hand says, "I'm here with you." One creates tension. The other creates surrender. So stop waiting for him to lead you into this space. You're allowed to lead too. Not with force, not with expectation, but with the quiet certainty of a woman who knows her presence is a gift. When you touch him from that place, calm, assured, and unapologetically present, it doesn't feel like you're trying something. It feels like you're returning to something sacred, and he'll feel that difference in his bones. So give yourself permission first. The rest will follow. How to quiet the voice saying, "What if I mess up?" That voice never seems to shut off, does it? The one that whispers, "What if I mess up?" Just as your hand drifts lower. It starts small, just a flicker of doubt, but quickly spirals. Am I going too slow? Is he bored? Should I be doing something more? What if he's comparing me to someone else? Before you know it, you're not even in your body anymore. You're hovering above the moment, watching yourself like a critic, dissecting every micro movement, every pause, every breath. And in that mental storm, your touch loses its warmth. It becomes mechanical, hesitant, distant. But here's the truth. Your nervous system already knows you cannot be fully in your head and fully in your hands at the same time. Your awareness lives in one place or the other. And the moment you shift it into your body, the noise fades, not because you silenced it, but because you stopped feeding it. So the next time that voice rises, don't fight it. Don't reason with it. Just pause. Take one slow, deep breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Let it fill your belly, not your chest. Then exhale through your mouth for 6 counts, releasing tension from your jaw, your shoulders, your fingertips. Now, bring your full attention to your palms. Not what they're doing, just what they're feeling. Notice the warmth radiating from your skin. Feel the subtle pulse in your wrists. Sense the weight of your hand resting on his thigh, his hip, or even just hovering in the space above him. Ask yourself one simple question. What do I feel right here?
Right now, don't analyze.
Don't interpret. Just notice, is his skin warm, cool? Is there a slight tremor in your own hand, a softening in his muscles beneath your touch? This isn't about reading him, it's about returning to yourself. Because the moment your sensory awareness lights up, your overthinking mind quiets. Neurologically, your prefrontal cortex, the seat of judgment and planning, can't stay active when your somatic nervous system is fully engaged. You're not trying to be present. You simply are, and in that presence, something beautiful unfolds. Your hands remember what they know. They soften, they slow, they begin to move not from instruction, but from intuition. You'll feel a subtle shift in his breath, a gentle tilt of his hips, and without thinking, your fingers respond. Not because you decided to, but because you're attuned. This isn't about becoming a better lover. It's about becoming a more available one, the kind of woman whose touch doesn't just stimulate, it connects. So the next time fear knocks, don't answer with logic, answer with breath, with sensation, with trust in the wisdom already living in your hands, because you've been trained to trust your mind. But in intimacy, your body has always known the way. The energy you bring is the real gift. Let's cut through the noise. You could follow the most detailed guide ever written. 3 slow circles, light pressure, then a gentle upward stroke, and still leave him feeling strangely untouched. Why? Because he's not remembering your technique. He's remembering your energy. Was your mind racing about your to-do list? Were you worrying about how your body looked in the dim light? Were you mentally rehearsing what to say next? Or were you fully there, your breath synced with his, your attention soft but steady, your heart open like a quiet invitation? That's what imprints on him. Not the motion of your hands, but the quality of your presence. Men don't walk away from intimacy thinking, her hand speed was perfect. They walk away feeling, I felt safe, I felt seen, I felt like she was really with me. And that feeling doesn't come from what you do. It comes from who you are in the moment. Your calm is contagious. When you're grounded, his nervous system relaxes without him even realizing it. Your presence is magnetic, not because you're performing, but because you're offering something rare, undivided attention. Your quiet confidence is more arousing than any secret move because it signals safety, not agenda. Think about the last time someone held you, not to fix you, not to get something from you, but just to be with you. Maybe it was a friend after a hard day, or your mother when you were small. You probably don't remember the exact position of their arms, but you remember how it felt like you mattered, like you were enough just as you were. That's the same power you hold. So stop trying to deliver an experience like it's a performance review. Start offering your presence like it's a sacred gift, because it is. Let your hands move slowly, not because a video told you to, but because you're savoring the connection. Let your touch be soft, not because it's supposed to be, but because your heart is open. When you shift from doing to being, everything changes. You stop trying to please him and start allowing him to feel loved. And that, more than any technique, any rhythm, any tip you've ever read, is what creates true intimacy. Because in a world of distraction, your full attention is the rarest, most powerful form of love, and you already have it. You just have to let it flow, not from your mind, but from your core. He won't remember how you moved your hands. He'll remember how you made him feel like he was the only man in the world. And that feeling, that's the real magic. The gentle art of beginning. Start far away from where you might think the magic happens the moment your hand moves close to his most vulnerable space. But the truth is, the real magic begins long before that, on the slope of his shoulder, the curve of his lower back, the warm expanse of his inner thigh. Because intimacy isn't a destination. It's a journey your bodies take together. And if you skip the beginning, you rob him and yourself of the deep relaxation that makes everything else feel safe, natural, and profoundly connecting. Men carry tension everywhere, in their jaws from holding back words, in their shoulders from carrying the world, in their hips from years of bracing against vulnerability. And that tension doesn't melt the moment you touch the right spot. It melts when he feels your presence moving slowly, reverently across the landscape of his body, like you're rediscovering him, not just reaching for a goal. So start far away from where you think you need to be. Rest your hand on his chest and feel his breath rise and fall beneath your palm. Let your fingertips trace the line of his collarbone, then drift down his ribs, not with urgency, but with curiosity. Circle your palm over the small of his back, where stress pools like heavy water. Glide your fingers along the inside of his thigh, stopping just before the place you're both thinking about. This isn't tasing, it's tending. Every stroke is a whisper. I'm here. I'm not rushing. You can let go. And as his breath deepens, as his muscles soften, as his hips tilt slightly toward your touch, you're not just warming him up, you're inviting him into surrender. And that surrender, it's what makes the next step feel not like a risk, but like a homecoming. So resist the urge to get there quickly. The slower you go, the more he feels you, not just your hands, but your attention, your care, your presence. And when you finally do move closer to that sacred space, it won't feel sudden or startling. It will feel like the most natural next breath in a conversation your bodies have already begun. Remember, the goal isn't to arrive, it's to arrive together. And that only happens when you take your time, starting far away from where you think you need to be, so you can meet him exactly where he is, reading his body without saying a word. You don't need him to say a word to know how he's feeling. His body is speaking to you constantly in the rhythm of his breath, the tension in his shoulders, the quiet shift of his hips. Most women miss these signals because they're too busy worrying about what to do next. But if you slow down and listen with your hands, his body will tell you everything you need to know. Start with his breath. When he's relaxed and receptive, his inhales grow deeper, slower, fuller, like he's finally letting go of something he's been holding on to all day. If his breathing stays shallow or erratic, he's still in his head. Give him more time, more warmth, more space. Next, notice his muscles. Tension lives in the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, but also in the thighs and hips. When he's open, those muscles soften. His legs might part slightly, not dramatically, but just enough to create space. His pelvis might tilt upward, almost imperceptibly, as if drawn toward your touch. These aren't conscious moves. They're involuntary responses to feeling safe. Watch his hands too. Are they relaxed at his sides, or are they clenched, gripping the sheets, bracing? Relaxed hands mean he's surrendered. Tense hands mean he's still guarding. And then there's the silence, the kind that hums with presence. If he's making soft sounds, sighing, or even just exhaling through parted lips, that's a green light. But if he's completely still, holding his breath or pulling slightly away, that's not rejection. It's a request. Go slower. Stay here a little longer. The key isn't to decode him like a puzzle. It's to stay attuned, to let your own body respond to his. If his breath deepens under your palm on his chest, linger there. If his thigh relaxes when you stroke it, go a little deeper. If he tenses when you move closer to his core, pause. Breathe. Return to his hip or thigh for a few moments. This isn't about getting permission in the moment. It's about creating a rhythm that feels safe for both of you. And the more you trust these quiet signals, the more confident you'll become, not because you're following rules, but because you're truly listening. His body is always talking. All you have to do is learn its language. The first approach, soft, slow, and certain. The moment you've been both dreading and desiring is closer than you think. And it's not what you imagine. It's not a bold move. It's not a practice stroke. It's not even really all movement at all. At least not at first. The most powerful first touch is stillness. Imagine this: your hand has been resting on his inner thigh for several slow breaths. His muscles have softened. His breath has deepened. There's a quiet hum of trust in the air between you. And now, without fanfare, without hesitation, you let your palm drift just a few inches inward until it comes to rest gently at the base of his body, not gripping, not circling, not doing anything, just resting. Like your hand has found its home. This stillness is everything, because in that pause, you're not asking a question, you're making a statement. Oh, I'm here. I'm not afraid. You're safe with me. And that message lands deeper than any technique ever could. Your palm should be warm, not hot, not cool, just naturally warm from your own calm presence. Let it settle with the weight of a quiet promise. Don't rush to move. Don't search for a reaction. Just be there, fully in that sacred space between strength and softness. He might inhale sharply, not from pain, but from surprise at your courage. He might go very still, as if holding his breath to honor the moment. Or he might let out a long, slow exhale like he's been waiting his whole life for this kind of tenderness. Whatever he does, don't pull away. Stay. Breathe. Let your energy say what words cannot. I see your vulnerability, and I hold it with care. After a few breaths, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 30, you'll feel it, a subtle softening beneath your palm. A slight relaxation. That's your cue, not to do something, but to let your fingers respond with the gentlest of motions. Perhaps a light cradle, perhaps a slow feather light stroke along the side, but only if it feels alive in your hands. This isn't about knowing what comes next. It's about trusting that your presence is already enough, because the first touch isn't about skill. It's about sacred arrival. And when you offer it with softness, slowness, and certainty, you don't just touch his body, you touch his soul. What to do if he tenses up? It happens to every woman at some point. You move your hand with care, with intention, and suddenly he tenses. His muscles lock. His breath catches. Maybe he even shifts his hips away just slightly. And in that instant, your heart drops. I hurt him. He doesn't like it. I messed up. But what if that tension isn't rejection? What if it's actually the opposite? For many men, the area holds a lifetime of unspoken vulnerability. Fear of pain, fear of exposure, fear of not being enough. So when your hand approaches, even with the gentlest intent, his body might flinch, not because he doesn't want your touch, but because he's overwhelmed by how much he does. Tension isn't a no. It's a not yet. So don't pull away in shame. Don't apologize. Don't retreat into your head. Instead, do this pause. Let your hand stay exactly where it is. No pressure, no movement for 3 full breaths. Your calm presence in that moment tells him, it's okay. I'm not going anywhere. Then slowly, gently lift your hand and return it to his thigh or hip, the last place he felt completely safe. Stroke that area with slow, reassuring circles. Reconnect, rebuild. Let your touch say, we're still here. We're still together. After a few moments, you'll feel his body soften again. His breath will deepen. His hips might even tilt back toward you, inviting you to try once more. And when you do, go even slower, even softer. This time, let your palm hover just above his skin for a few seconds before making contact. Let him feel your warmth before your touch. Let him meet you halfway. And if he tenses again, same response, pause, return to safety. Wait, this isn't failure, it's intimacy in its rawest form. 2 people learning to trust each other in real time. The goal isn't to get past his tension, to honor it, to hold space for it, to show him through your unwavering calm that he doesn't have to be perfect to be loved. Because the woman who doesn't flinch when he flinches, she's the one he'll never forget. So next time he tenses, don't see it as a wall, see it as a doorway, and walk through it not with force, but with the quiet courage of a woman who knows that true intimacy is built not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of love. The rhythm that creates devotion slow down way more than you think. You might think that more movement equals more pleasure, that faster hands mean more intensity. That if you stop even for a second, he'll think you've lost interest. But the opposite is true. His nervous system doesn't crave speed, it craves safety. And safety is built in slowness, in stillness, in the kind of touch that says, I'm not going anywhere. There's no rush. We have all the time in the world. When you move too fast, even with the best intentions, your touch can feel frantic, scattered, or performative. It signals anxiety, not desire, and beneath the surface, his body registers it as stress, not connection. But when you slow down way more than feels natural at first, something remarkable happens. His breath deepens, his muscles release, his mind stops racing. And in that quiet, he doesn't just feel your hands, he feels you. Try this the next time your hand is resting near his core. Don't move for a full minute. Just let your palm stay warm, soft, and still. No circles.
No pressure, no agenda.
At first, it might feel strange, like you're doing nothing. But that's the point. You're not performing, you're being. And in that stillness, he has space to drop out of his head and into his body. To stop anticipating what's next and simply receive what is. 1 minute of unhurried presence speaks louder than 5 minutes of motion. Because motion says, I'm giving you something. Stillness says, I'm here with you. And that distinction changes everything. Men are rarely touched with this kind of patience. In a world of haste and distraction, your slow, steady hands become a sanctuary. They tell him without words that he's worthy of your full attention, that he doesn't have to earn your touch through performance or stamina. So resist the urge to keep things going. Let your hands move like honey, thick, warm, deliberate. Let each stroke last longer than you think it should. Let the space between touches stretch like a deep breath, because devotion isn't built in the climax, it's built in the calm. And the slower you go, the more he feels not just your touch, but your love. Your hands have a language of their own. You've probably searched for the right way. Should I use circles or straight lines? Light pressure or firm? Clockwise or counterclockwise? You want a map, a formula, a guarantee that you won't fail. But here's the truth no guidebook can capture. There is no single right way, because his body isn't a machine to be operated. It's a living, breathing landscape of sensation, and your hands already know how to read it. Your intuition isn't vague or unreliable. It's your deepest intelligence. It lives in the slight warmth you feel under your palm, in the subtle shift of his hips toward your touch, in the quiet sigh that escapes his lips when you linger just a second longer. So stop asking, what should I do? Start asking, what feels alive right now? Let your hands move not from memory, but from sensation. If your palm feels drawn to cradle. If your fingers want to trace a slow line along the side, trace it. If stillness calls louder than motion, be still. This isn't about guessing his preferences. It's about co-creating a rhythm that emerges in real time between your energy and his. And the beautiful thing, he doesn't want perfection. He wants you, your unique touch, your natural flow, your unscripted presence. A technique applied mechanically feels hollow, but a touch guided by your genuine curiosity feels like a conversation. Trust the warmth in your hands. Trust the softness in your breath. Trust the quiet pull you feel when his body responds. You don't need to memorize moves. You need to drop into your body and listen, because your hands have been speaking this language since the first time you held someone you loved. They know how to comfort. They know how to honor. They know how to say, I'm here, without a single word. So let go of the script. Let go of the fear of getting it wrong. Because when you move from intuition, not instruction, your touch becomes something no technique can replicate: authentic, alive, unforgettable. The power of stillness between movements. You might believe that intimacy requires constant motion, that if you stop even for a few seconds, the spell will break, that he'll think you've lost focus, that the moment will fizzle. But the opposite is true. The most powerful moments often happen in the pauses. When you stop moving, when you let your hand rest warm and still against his skin, you give him space to feel you, not just the sensation of your touch, but the full weight of your presence. And in that stillness, something profound unfolds. His nervous system catches up, his breath deepens, his body stops anticipating the next move and finally surrenders to what's already here. Think of it like music. The notes matter, but so do the rests. Without silence between sounds, there's only noise. Without stillness between touches, there's only stimulation. But with pauses, there's rhythm, there's meaning, there's longing. So don't fear the quiet. Lean into it. After a slow stroke, let your palm settle. Don't rush to the next motion. Just be there, breathing, present, unhurried. Let him feel the warmth of your hand without the distraction of movement. Let him absorb the gift of your attention. You'll know it's working when his exhale grows longer, when his hips tilt slightly towards you, when his hand finds yours, not to guide you, but to hold on. These pauses aren't empty. They're full of trust, of anticipation, of unspoken connection. And they create something constant motion, never can devotion. Because when you're willing to be still with him in his most vulnerable space, you're not just touching his body, you're honoring his humanity. You're saying, I'm not here to get somewhere, I'm here to be with you. And that kind of presence, it lingers long after the night ends. So the next time your hand moves, remember, the motion is the question, the stillness is the answer. And in that answer, he finds not just pleasure, but peace. When to stop, even if he wants more, you've felt it, that quiet pull in your body that says, I'm done. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're no longer present. Maybe you've given all you genuinely wanted to give, but he's still there, eyes half closed, breath heavy, clearly wanting more. And so you keep going, not because you want to, but because you're afraid he'll be disappointed, afraid he'll think you don't care, afraid that stopping early makes you selfish or cold. But what if the most powerful thing you could do in that moment isn't to continue, but to stop, not abruptly, but not coldly, with a gentle hand on his chest, a soft kiss on his forehead, and a quiet, I'm going to rest now, because leaving him wanting more isn't teasing, it's mastery. In a culture that tells women to give until they're empty, choosing to honor your own limits is revolutionary. It says, my presence is a gift, not an obligation. And that distinction changes everything. When you stop while you're still fully present, while your energy is warm, your touch is loving, and your attention is intact, you leave him with the best version of you, not the exhausted, distracted, or resentful version that comes from pushing past your truth. And that creates longing, not the frustrated kind, the deep, soulful kind, the kind that makes him replay your touch in his mind for days, the kind that makes him cherish your presence, not just your performance. Men don't lose respect. When a woman sets a boundary with grace, they gain awe, because it takes strength to say, this is enough, when the world expects you to keep giving. So don't confuse his desire for your continuation with your duty to provide it. His wanting more doesn't mean you owe him more. It means you gave something so meaningful, he doesn't want it to end. And that's a compliment, not a contract. Next time you feel that inner signal, your energy waning, your mind drifting, your body saying, enough, listen to it, honor it. Let your hands slow, then rest. Let your voice be soft but sure, I'm going to stop here. No apology, no justification, just quiet confidence. Because the woman who knows when to stop is the woman who owns her power. She doesn't measure her worth by how long she lasts, but by how fully she shows up while she's there. And paradoxically, by stopping, you create more intimacy, not less. You teach him that your touch is precious because it's intentional, that your presence is rare because it's chosen. He won't resent you for leaving him wanting. He'll respect you for knowing your worth. And that respect, it's the foundation of true devotion. The emotional alchemy of this touch, why this touch feels like love to him, you might think this touch is about sensation, about pleasure, about giving him something he enjoys. But for him, it's rarely just that. For most men, this part of their body has only ever been touched in two ways: with urgency during sex, or with clinical detachment during a doctor's visit. Rarely, if ever, with tenderness, with patience, with the kind of quiet reverence that says, I see you, all of you, even the parts you hide. That's why your touch lands so deeply. It's not the motion of your hands that moves him, it's the message behind them. When you approach with calm certainty, without agenda or expectation, you're not just touching his skin, you're honoring his vulnerability. And in a world where men are taught to armor up, to never show weakness, that kind of witnessing feels like love in its purest form. Think about it. When was the last time someone held a part of you that you usually keep hidden, not to fix it, not to judge it, but simply to say, you're safe here? That's what you're offering him. And because this area is so closely tied to a sense of masculinity, strength, and even shame, your gentle presence there becomes a quiet rebellion against everything he's been taught to fear. You're not recoiling. You're not rushing. You're not treating it like a taboo. You're meeting him there with soft hands and an open heart. And in doing so, you're telling him without words, Your softness is welcome with me. That's why he might tear up, why he might go very still, why he might hold you tighter afterward, like he's trying to memorize the feeling. Because in that moment, he doesn't just feel desired, he feels seen. And for a man, that's rarer than pleasure, rarer than passion, rarer than almost anything. So don't underestimate the power of what you're giving. You're not just massaging. You're offering a sanctuary, a sacred space where he can be both strong and soft and loved for both. And that doesn't just feel good, it feels like coming home. How it changes the way he sees you. After this kind of touch, something shifts in him. It's subtle at first, a longer look in his eyes the next morning, a hand that finds yours more often, a willingness to share something he's never told anyone. But over time, the change becomes undeniable. He doesn't just want you, he trusts you. And that trust is the bedrock of real love, because when you've held his most guarded space with care, with no expectation, no performance, just presence, you've proven something powerful, that you can handle his vulnerability, that you won't flinch, that you won't use it against him, that you see his softness not as weakness, but as courage. And once a man feels that kind of safety with a woman, everything changes. He stops performing. He stops hiding. He starts leaning into you, not just physically, but emotionally. He shares his fears, his dreams, his quiet doubts. He lets you see the parts of himself he shields from the world. Why? Because you've already seen his deepest vulnerability, and you didn't look away. You held it gently. This isn't just about intimacy in the bedroom. It's about intimacy in the soul. And the woman who can hold that space becomes irreplaceable, not because she's the best, but because she's the only one he feels this safe with. He'll still be attracted to other women, but he'll only surrender to you, because attraction is about the body. Surrender is about the heart. And once he's surrendered, he's yours not out of obligation, but out of devotion. He'll choose you again and again, not just for your beauty or your passion, but for your quiet strength, your unwavering presence, your ability to hold his humanity without judgment. So don't mistake this touch for a momentary act. It's a covenant. A silent promise that says, I see you, I honor you, you're safe with me. And once he believes that, he'll never look for it anywhere else. The confidence it gives you, this touch, doesn't just change him, it changes you. Every time you move past your fear, every time you place your hand with calm intention, every time you stay present even when your mind wants to flee, you're not just giving him a gift, you're reclaiming a part of yourself. Because to hold space for deep masculine vulnerability, you must first trust your own strength. You must believe that your presence is enough, that your intuition is reliable, that your softness is not weakness but power. And with each experience, that belief grows. You start to notice it in other areas of your life. You speak up more. You set boundaries without guilt. You move through the world with a quiet certainty that wasn't there before. Why? Because you've proven to yourself that you can handle intimacy at its most raw, and not just handle it, but elevate it. This isn't about becoming better in bed. It's about becoming more embodied as a woman, more trusting of your hands, your breath, your inner knowing. You stop looking outside for validation and start listening to the wisdom already living in your body. And that's true feminine power, not dominance, not control, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can meet another human being in their deepest vulnerability and hold them with love without losing yourself. Men sense this shift. They feel your grounded energy. They respond to your calm, and they're drawn to it, not because you're trying to attract them, but because you're radiating wholeness. So don't underestimate what you're building here with every breath, every pause, every still hand. You're not just deepening your connection with him, you're deepening your connection with yourself. And that self-trust, that's the foundation of real magnetism. Because the woman who can hold a man's vulnerability without flinching isn't just desirable, she's unshakable. And once you know that about yourself, nothing can take your power away. What if you're not in the mood? There will be nights when you're simply not there. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe your mind is elsewhere. Maybe your body feels closed off, and the thought of touching him in that space feels like a chore, not a choice. And that's okay, more than okay. It's human. Because this touch only carries its magic when it's a true offering, when your heart is open, when your presence is real. If you're going through the motions out of guilt, obligation, or fear of disappointing him, your energy will feel hollow, even if your hands move correctly. And he'll feel that disconnect, even if he can't name it. So don't force it. Instead, meet him with honesty, not with coldness, but with warmth. I'm not quite here tonight, but I want to be with you in a way that feels true. Or simply, not tonight, love, but I'm holding you in my heart. This isn't rejection. It's respect for him and for yourself. Because real intimacy isn't about showing up physically when you're absent emotionally. It's about aligning your actions with your truth. And when you do that, you teach him something vital, that your yes means something because your no is honored. Paradoxically, saying not tonight with love builds more trust than saying yes with resentment ever could. It shows him that your presence is a gift, not a duty, that your touch is chosen, not extracted. And over time, that honesty becomes the foundation of deeper intimacy. He learns to trust you, yes, because he knows it's real. He learns to respect your boundaries because they're clear and kind, and he learns to meet you with the same authenticity. So never confuse self-care with selfishness. Choosing to protect your energy isn't closing the door. It's tending to the flame so it can burn brighter next time. Your worth isn't measured by how much you give when you're empty. It's measured by how honestly you honor your truth. And the man who truly loves you, he'll thank you for it. Your invitation to deeper intimacy. This isn't about doing it right. You've been carrying a weight you were never meant to bear. The belief that this has to be perfect, that there's a right way, a wrong way, best way. And if you don't find it, you've failed. But what if there's no test at all? What if the only thing he's truly longing for isn't your skill, but your sincerity? Not your precision, but your presence. Because here's the truth. No one tells you men don't remember how you moved your hands. They remember how you made them feel. And that feeling doesn't come from flawless execution. It comes from the quiet certainty that you were fully there. You don't need to memorize rhythms. You don't need to time your strokes. You don't need to worry about pressure, speed, or sequence. All you need is to be real. When you stop trying to do it right and start simply being with him, something shifts. Your touch softens, your breath slows, your energy becomes calm, not frantic. And in that calm, he finds safety. And safety is the gateway to everything else. So let go of the idea that you're being graded, that he's silently judging your technique. That one mistake will ruin the moment. He's not watching you like a critic. He's feeling you like a lover. And what he feels is your care, your attention, your courage to be vulnerable enough to offer this kind of touch in the first place. That's already enough, more than enough. Because intimacy isn't a performance. It's a conversation between two souls. And the most powerful words aren't spoken with hands, but with presence. So tonight, give yourself permission to be imperfect, to pause, to breathe, to trust that your willingness to show up exactly as you are is the greatest gift you could offer. There's no finish line, no gold star, just two people connected in the quiet dark. And that's already everything. The real secret no one tells you. You've scrolled, you've searched, you've listened to whispers about the one move. That changes everything. But the real secret isn't a technique. It's a state of being. The most powerful thing you can offer him isn't your hands. It's your full, undivided attention. Think about it. When was the last time someone looked at you, really looked, and made you feel like you were the only person in the universe? Not distracted, not half listening, not mentally planning dinner. Just there with you in that moment. That's the gift you hold. And when you bring that same quality of presence to your touch, when your mind isn't racing ahead, your body isn't tense with performance anxiety, and your heart is open, he doesn't just feel your hands, he feels you. Your calm becomes his calm, your focus becomes his safety, your love becomes his surrender. No amount of perfect motion can replicate that. 1,000 expertly executed strokes mean nothing if your mind is elsewhere, but 1 minute of truly present stillness, that can change everything, because what he's really craving isn't stimulation. It's connection. He wants to feel that he matters, not just his body, but his humanity. That in your eyes, he's not just a man to please, but a soul to honor. And that's not communicated through technique. It's communicated through the quiet intensity of your attention. So stop looking for secrets in the movement. Start finding them in the stillness, in the way your breath syncs with his, in the way your palm rests without agenda, in the way your eyes hold his, even in the dark. That's where the magic lies. Not in what you do, but in who you are when you do it. And when you offer him that your full, loving, unhurried presence, you give him something no secret technique ever could, the feeling of being truly, deeply desired. You already know how. You just need to trust yourself. You keep looking outside yourself for answers. But the truth is, you already know. Your hands remember how to comfort a crying friend. Your body knows how to hold a child with tenderness. Your heart understands when to speak and when to simply be still. This isn't new, it's familiar. Because intimate touch isn't a foreign skill to learn, it's an extension of the care you've always carried. The only difference now is the context. And the only thing blocking you is the belief that you need permission, training, or approval to trust what you already feel. But your intuition is speaking to you right now in the warmth of your palms, in the natural rhythm of your breath, in the quiet pull you feel when his body responds. You don't need to figure it out. You need to listen. When your hand hovers near him and you feel a subtle warmth, that's your body saying, go slower. When his breath catches and your fingers instinctively still, that's your heart saying, stay here. When your palm cradles without thought, that's your wisdom saying, this is enough. You've been taught to doubt this inner knowing, to defer to experts, to videos, to other women's experiences. But no one knows your energy. No one knows his body like you do in this moment. So stop outsourcing your wisdom, close your eyes, breathe into your center, and ask yourself, what feels true right now? Not what you raid, not what you think you should do, just what feels alive in your hands. Because the woman who trusts her intuition doesn't just give great touch, she gives authentic touch. And authenticity is magnetic. You don't need more knowledge, you need more trust. Trust that your sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's your compass. Trust that your softness isn't weakness, it's your strength. Trust that you've known how all along. You just needed someone to remind you. Your next steps, it's simpler than you think. You don't need a plan. You don't need a script. You don't need to get ready. Your next step is simpler than you think. Tonight, when you're lying beside him in the quiet dark, just rest your hand there, not with motion, not with expectation, not with a goal in mind. Just rest it warm, soft, and still at the base of his body. Let it be a quiet offering, a silent, I'm here. That's it. No circles, no pressure, no performance. Just your palm present and calm, saying everything without a word. And if your mind starts racing, is this okay? Should I move? What if he's not ready? Just breathe. Feel the weight of your hand. Feel the rise and fall of his breath beneath it. Come back to this one truth: you are allowed to be here. This isn't about doing it right. It's about showing up. And you've already done the hardest part, deciding to try. Everything else will unfold naturally. If he softens, your fingers might respond with the gentlest stroke. If he tenses, you'll pause, return to his thigh and wait. If nothing happens, that's okay too, because presence is never wasted. You're not trying to create a moment, you're allowing one to emerge. And in that allowing, you reclaim your power, not as a performer, but as a woman who trusts her own rhythm, her own timing, her own heart. So don't wait for the perfect night. Don't wait until you feel ready. You're ready now, because readiness isn't a feeling, it's a choice. And your choice to place your hand with calm intention, however small, changes everything. He'll feel it, you'll feel it. And from that one simple act, a deeper intimacy will grow, not because you followed a guide, but because you listened to the quiet wisdom that's been with you all along. So go gently, go slowly, and go with love. The rest will follow.